Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Virgo. If Virgo is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. Okay, and let's see what these tea leaves have to say tonight. And so, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell there. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out, and it is free to subscribe. You don't have to pay anything. And also, if you like the reading, go ahead and hit that like button. It does help the channel so much. Okay, and so our card is the Wheel of Fortune. And so we have some choices to make here. Some decisions about going forward. It looks like maybe this is about some kind of union, romantic or otherwise. So first we're going to start here. And it looks like we have a person kind of standing here. You can see the legs, you can see the arm raised, you can see the mouth open. I almost get this image of Saturn, you know. If you've seen any of the the artwork of Saturn, the god Saturn, Kronos, and he devours his children, and that's part of the mythology. You know, and I don't know where that comes from exactly. I look at a lot of these mythologies from a more Jungian and psychological standpoint, and are aspects of self, and so I look at this and I think, you know, there has to be a time in our lives where, you know, we've spent a good portion of it serving other people's needs. We are taught from a young age to conform, to be agreeable, you know, to not rock the boat too much, to, you know, just kind of go along and not cause too many problems. Of course, have some amount of individuality, be as self-sustaining as possible. But you know, you don't want to stand out too much, right? You don't want to get out there and say the things that bring too much attention to you. And this kind of, you know, and I think that, and I see it in myself sometimes as a mother, we want our children to have, it's not easy, but we want them to have ease in life. We don't want them to suffer too much. Okay. And so, I think that in these little ways, it's like these little deaths that we go through, trying to, you know, wrangle the people we care about into a way of living that causes, in our estimation, the least amount of pain. Okay. But it is so smothering. It is like drowning, right? And it's devouring each of those little children archetypes within ourselves to just continue on living a life that's not too much of a problem. It's manageable, you know. It maybe isn't anything, so fantastic, right? But it's good enough. Well, I think we get to a point, right? We do. I imagine all of us at some point. And I think this is where that kind of cliche of the middle age crisis kind of begins to happen. Maybe a little bit younger, maybe a little bit older. Hey, maybe this never was a big problem for you, you know. Maybe you were always kind of defiant. Maybe you never conformed to these things. I don't know. But I think for a lot of us, you know, whatever it is that we tried to abide, you know, if that was something very conventional or not. You know, I came from a family that my parents were very unconventional people, but I still wanted to make them happy. And I didn't always do the things I wanted to do. Even after they had passed away, I still continued in this way, trying to be so outside of the mainstream that I kind of, I was conforming to something that wasn't for me anyways, right? And we do that. So I look at this and I think this is a point in your life where it's like, okay, all right, I'm done with trying to quiet myself. I'm done trying to, be little where I could be so much more. I'm tired of serving everybody else's agendas. I'm tired of, always being the one that has to think of how all of the decisions are going to affect every single person involved. When you yourself don't get the same, thought from others. Now, I'm not saying that you're on the verge of just becoming, fully selfish and reckless and all these things. But I really do. I think that this is a real period of time of choosing for yourself. And we know in the mythology, at some point, Saturn goes to eat his child. I'm trying to think which one. I feel like it's Zeus. I can't remember. But goes to eat one of the kids, right? And they put a stone in its place. And so he eats it and he thinks, cool. I don't have anybody to compete for my power, and that goes, upside down for him. And so, I think this is it, breaking away from, letting the flow of life devour you, letting this need to, serve a concept of living that's not for you. And listen, you might be listening, Lenor, I'm a Virgo. Nobody tells me anything. I get it. I'm a Virgo too. But we do, we all do in some little ways. And we go through these periods. And I think this happens throughout life more than once. We find ourselves in these situations where we're doing things, we're living ways, we're, involved in hobbies, extracurricular things, or, our routine, our work, whatever it is, it doesn't serve who we are anymore. We've become something else. We're in a different, not even a different scene of our life. A whole other act has begun. And all that old stuff, we're just holding on to it because we think we have to. We're keeping it up. And it's just tiring. How many times have we kept friends for longer than we should have? How many times have we been in relationships so much longer than we should have been? I'm raising my hand right now. We've all in some way done this. And I have, definitely, And even just in my behaviors, my habits, these are other things. I've let them rule me at times when I knew in my head, enough. It's time to do something else. Time to put this thing down. All right? And so when I see the wheel, I think, there is a way to success, but it's not easy. This isn't a place where, we spin that, what is the thing? It was like, no whammy, no whammy. You remember that? I remember that from when I was a kid. I'd be sick, right, at home, and it would come on TV. Spinning that wheel, hoping we land on the prize. We get the good thing. But, ultimately, it really is about bringing attention to, we have the choice at any given time. And I've talked on my readings a lot that I'm in recovery. Yeah, for substance abuse. And I have been, for almost 10 years. And it's not easy getting sober. It's not easy quitting whatever it is that we do. But ultimately, and I just talked to somebody about this not too long ago, because I'm still in recovery. So I talk to people who are coming into recovery, people who are in recovery, constantly. But, we were talking about, well, how do they get clean? Well, yeah, you just stop. And it sounds like, oh, that's, if that was it, then everybody would just, well, it is. That is what happens. You just quit doing it. Now, to continue staying sober, that's where the real work begins. But we must make that first choice. And then we have a lot of choices to make after that. We have to have a lot of resolve. Be willing to change a lot of things about our life. I'm not saying it's easy, but also it's the easiest decision ever. Okay? So again, when I see this and I think, oh, here's an opportunity. Sometimes to do the hard thing, but it is the thing that is going to lead us to the whatever, the promised land, those things you're wishing and dreaming for, that fortune that you're looking for. You are the weaver of your dreams. But you have to know that. You have to know that. You have to believe it, and you have to trust in yourself. Don't choose against yourself. And you know when you are. You don't have to prove it to me. You don't have to prove it to anybody else. But when you're doing things, when you're making the decisions that are not serving the cause that you have for yourself, for your life, for the vision of what you want to do. So we stop devouring that inner child. We put that stone there and we say no. No more. And that's the other thing about Saturn. And listen, I am a great lover of Saturn. I am. If you look at my house, there's a lot of stuff that are nods to this archetype of Saturn, because it's all about the hardest time. It's all about the toughest work. It's all about reclaiming self. Okay, this isn't absolution. This is like getting down in the dirt on your hands and knees. You know, hands bloody, fingernails bloody, knees bloody, doing what you have to do. And I have the greatest respect for that. And, you know, I look at this and it's even a reminder for me, because I have things. We all have things. We have things that we need to work on. Things that keep us from that higher level that, you know, that we want to get to. So we also have two birds here, okay? And they're gazing up, okay? And I look at this and I think, you have loved ones, a guardian angel, maybe two guardian angels, I don't know. But somebody, something that looks out for you, and you feel them. You feel them in everything that you're doing. And I feel like these are people who have transitioned, if these are people, okay? Mom, dad, grandparents, aunt, uncle, great grandma, a child, you know, God forbid. Whoever it is, you carry them with you and you honor them in all the things that you do. And I know that you think about that. And I know that that's so important for you. Okay? It's easy though. It's easy though to try to live in a way that we think that they would want us to. In a way that they live their life, in a way that they told us how we should live. And sometimes these ideas are outmoded. Sometimes these ideas are the things, you know, that conditioning that we're talking about. Ultimately, and I really believe this is so true about anybody who has loved us and who has gone on, no matter what they were like in life, no matter, you know, if they were small-minded or they came from an era that, like, their beliefs just don't equate to, like, where we're at now in the world or whatever, all of that needs to be set aside. Because I think once you transition, and, you know, I don't know for sure, but this is, in my heart of hearts, I believe this. They just want us to live the life that we want to live. They want us to have light in our life. To be brave, to do the things that are going to, you know, optimize our time here. To love, right? To see beautiful things, to have moments of joy, to do the work, to really do the work. And I don't mean just like the 9 to 5 or how you make money, you know, all that's great, but the work for your soul, for spirit, to heal thyself, right? And so, you know, I think that there's just a really, really moving energy here. And let's see, I mentioned this when I started. We have this union, and I see two people holding hands face to face. I see this beautiful tree. I imagine some wonderful garden. We have, it looks like the sun above head and animals. I mean, just all kinds of, it looks like the Garden of Eden or something like this, some perfect place. And, this doesn't have to be romantic, although maybe it is. But ultimately, this is about that divine union, about finding that balance in your life, in yourself. Finding that place that feels like everything is in harmony. Is it always like that? No, of course not. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe somebody has figured out how to sustain that feeling, but it is in glimpses. Okay? And a lot of this stuff, it happens in that interior world, in your dream world, in your world of active imagination, a place where you go to visit, to work on these things, meditation, breath work, whatever your chosen technique is. I think it's so important, it's so special, and I feel that I just can see this very serene, lush, beautiful, it's like arriving home, okay? And all of it is worth it. It's worth finding these little kind of respites from the chaos that is life, that is our universe. But there's these little micro places of order, these places of rest, of peace. And, we have to create that for ourselves. Nobody's going to give that to us. I feel like we spend a lot of time looking for it in other people, in situations. Like we're going to find the perfect home in the perfect neighborhood, in the perfect town, in the perfect, country. And that's going to be the place. Wow. I don't know. I don't think that happens that often. At least not anymore. Okay, and ultimately, this work has to be in that interior place. It really does. I think just the older I get, the more I start to understand, the work of people like Saint Teresa, right? The interior castle, the interior mansion, these places of divine love, the work of Jung in all of his devotees and students and so on, and there's so many different examples of practitioners and holy people and occultists and so on, and they all speak about this place, this place inside. What does it look like for you? That's up to you, but it's where we go. That's where we have to go to do the work, and that's very important. Okay, so we have a snake that is coiled right here. We have, it looks like a bird in flight. I know, I'm like, oh, is this Dove and Serpent? Shout out to my husband's channel over there, Dove and Serpent. The plate here is just an advertisement for that. No, I'm kidding. But I think that there's the knowledge here. And I feel like through this, it's just so clear to me. When we have these places of making big choices, these archetypal cards that come through and energies, there is such clarity, and we see this a lot in those, in some of the sword cards especially. But, there's just an opportunity where, does it feel hard and raw and painful to just kind of all the illusionary, warm and fuzzy stuff, or, the lies, or, the misconception, all of it kind of is gone and you just see things for what they are. Yeah, of course, that's terribly painful. But it is also a blessing in that this is your opportunity to move without guilt, right? To make that hard decision knowing that you must serve your ultimate purpose, your true will. You know, and that is sometimes very difficult to do when we are kind of just encapsulated with that illusion. Okay. So we also, with the bird in flight, movement of energy. We have the knowledge, we have the movement of energy. The knowledge is being transmuted. And this is very much like the Queen of Swords. Transmutation of knowledge into wisdom, functional wisdom. Being able to apply it to your life in a way that is meaningful. Okay? And this is another really important thing. We can talk about these things in this really kind of abstract, metaphorical way all day long, you know, philosophize about it. And that's fun. But what's even better is when we can figure out how to take these understandings, apply them to our lives, right? And you know, that's some deep work. That's some deep work, and that's how we maintain, right? That's how when we fold it into our life, that's when it really does become something. It becomes more than just you know, something that we have conceived in our mind, in our spirit, but into something that we really synthesize into our existence, right? All right, let's see. We have the Cincy Child affirmation cards, and we're going to go ahead. I'm going to flip through these, and I just like to do an affirmation card at the end just to kind of see where we're at here. And it says, I am grateful for the life I live. Yeah. Yes. And I think that's, you know, and I think that ultimately that is the energy there. You know, to be grateful for the life we live. It's not being in a fixed state of things. I think it's when anyways, for me, when I come out of that kind of sleepiness, the lull of things, when I get a little too comfortable, right? I've been a little bit asleep in my own life. You know, it's not good nor bad necessarily. But when I am really acutely aware of the need to change, and I'm going through the process of doing things, evolving things, learning things, really taking care of myself, those interior aspects of self, that child, sacred child, interior child, that work. That's when I'm really grateful for the way that I'm living, for the life that I'm living, because, you know, it feels meaningful. Everything feels so much more meaningful. So, Virgo, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel. Hello, T. And we have TT here saying thank you as well. Come on, baby. Let's see. Yes, liking the video does help the channel so much. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. It is free to subscribe. We'd love to have you become part of the community here at the channel. And I know somebody asked me the other day, what does that mean? How do I become part of the community? Well, it really simply is just subscribing, and if you want to interact, you can comment on here. I see people commenting on each other's comments and supporting one another. You know, a lot of people read the things that you write on there. So you are becoming part of a larger collective. Okay. And so, and then, yeah, other than that, if you want to leave a comment, please do. I read them. Other people read them. They are one of the most important part of this channel because I feel like, you know, it really means so much to kind of know who is visiting here. You know, what are you thinking? How are you feeling? What's going on with you? The other thing I have on there is in the community post section, there's a post for people who have small businesses, who have services to offer, who have channels on here or other platforms. And if you have any of those things and you want to post about them, go ahead into that community post and put up whatever you're doing, whatever kind of business you have, whatever service. I know there are tons of people on there posting about all kinds of different stuff. Lots of really amazing, talented people. And even if you don't have something like that, go look at them because, you know, I really feel like if you are here listening to this, there's a reason why you're here. It might not just be this message. Maybe it is, and I hope it is, that, you know, you want to subscribe and watch other readings. But it might also be as well that there is some kind of connection, you know, within these other people that are here practicing many different kinds of things. So go check that out. Support our community here. And with that, I will say thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you, and we will talk again really soon.